On the dais, Ms. Leena Nandanji, Secretary, Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, Mr. Arunab Ghosh, CEO, CEEW, all panelists, ladies and gentlemen. Before I put across my views on the topic of the day, I would like to mention that it was a relief that nobody today extended warm wishes. Here, because since we are unable to avoid the heat, we may at least draw relief from avoiding the word warm. Jokes apart, ladies and gentlemen, coming straight to the topic, there is no denying that we need ways to ensure sustainable thermal comfort for our people, especially those who do not have the means for it. It cannot be emphasized enough that these bearing the most brunt of climate change are the ones who made the least contribution to it. I returned from Coast d'Ivoire, popularly known as the Ivory Coast, just yesterday evening after handing over the COP presidency to the host country. During my 3-day visit to African nation to participate in UNCCD COP15, I saw how least developed countries are being forced to divert their resources to fight climate change despite not having been primary exploiter of planet Earth. And it strengthened my belief that we cannot overcome this problem unless we join hands and support each other nationally and globally. Cooling today, dear friends, has become a developmental need linked with achieving sustainable development goal. For instance, SDG 2 on zero hunger, SDG 3 on good health and well-being, SDG 8 on decent work and economic growth, SDG 11 on sustainable cities and communities, and SDG 13 on climate action are linked to cooling. A report by Sustainable Energy 4, all on providing sustainable cooling for all, shows that globally there are over 1.1 billion people living in hot climates who face immediate risk from lacks of access to cooling. Even as we sit here in this air conditioner hall to discuss cooling, we cannot even for a moment forget that a heat wave impacting a poor person outside does have an indirect impact on us all, for we live interconnected lives. If we cannot protect the labor who is building road, highways, metro network and malls for us, how do we expect to attain development? By protecting the poor is not just because protecting the economy. They have as much as a right to comfortable and sustainable cooling as any of us because we are all one and equal. Closing the cooling access gaps of vulnerable population is therefore essential for economic growth and development. Cooling action plan have been globally recognized as an important policy initiative which can help in climate action and achievement of sustainable development goals. Recognizing the same, India under the leadership of Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji become one of the first countries in the world to launch a comprehensive Indian cooling action plan in March 2019. The plan lists a long-term vision to address the cooling requirement of India across sectors such as residential and commercial buildings, cold chain, refrigeration, transport and industries. Dear friends, we mostly find that when we go to solve one problem, we create another. ICAP does not make that mistake because Indian Cooling Action Plan is based on the concept of synergies between various sectors of the economy, between the conventional and alternate forms of cooling, between comfort and sustainability, and between national and international priorities. It is key to growth, yet provides significant aspect of equity and accessibility in terms of cooling comfort for all, health for all, and food for all. In dealing with heat, you realize you are dealing with two kinds of factor. One which is under your control and other that is beyond your control. Controlling emission is a step which is largely under our control nationally. ICAP lists out action which can help reduce the cooling demand, which will also help in reducing both direct and indirect emission. There are quantifiable goals for reduction in cooling load, energy use, and refrigerant demand. The ICAP advises the use of renewable and alternative energy technologies for cooling. Already the International Solar Alliance has released that the sustainable solar energy has potential to add far-reaching value to cold chain infrastructure. To this end, ISA has launched the ISA Solar Cooling Initiative. We have taken off well and are poised to accelerate our effort. Domestic manufacturing in the cooling sector need to be given a boost. Air conditioner manufacturing has been identified as one of the three key sectors to focus on domestic manufacturing. Manufacturing and innovation can't be looked at in isolation from each other. Focus must be on redesigning and optimizing technology for market so that they can be adopted at mass scale. To stay competitive in global markets, Indian companies will have to be at the cutting edge of R&D and technology. India has already shown its leadership in innovation by promoting next generation cooling technology at the Global Cooling Prize. The Indian industry has the ability to develop competitive products by undertaking R&D and innovation. This should include refrigerant based, non-refrigerant based, not in kind technology such as district cooling. The cold chain and supply chain infrastructure in the country has to be upscaled in terms of pack houses, reefer transport, and refining chambers, where the gap is nearly 90%. The importance of having energy efficient cold chain on low GWP global warming potential refrigerators has been understood time and again. India in the last few years has ramped up its cold chain infrastructure, which is reflected in the way we have successfully run the world's biggest COVID-19 vaccination drive. Another important area is skilling, which is the key for better livelihood opportunity. The skilling of refrigerators and air conditioning service techniques in focus area of the government under Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana. Efforts are being made to formalize the sector by linking service technician to ongoing scheme of the government on social security and financial inclusion. ICAP also contains focus recommendation on this. Sustainable cooling is the intersection of three international multilateral agreements, that is Kigali Amendment to the Montreal Protocol, Paris Agreement under United Framework Convention of Climate Change UNFCCC, and Sustainable Development Goals of 2030. Friends, India has also ratified the Kigali Amendment to the Montreal Protocol and played a key role in its adaptation. India piloted the inclusion of energy efficiency within the framework of Kigali Amendment in order to maximize the overall climate benefits. Let me also share with you the fact that this inclusion of energy efficiency was also recognized and duly acknowledged as an important co-benefit by the Technology of Economic Assessment Panel of Montreal Protocol. India has already shown exemplary leadership and commitment in its climate action. In Ivory Coast, world leader I met congratulated India for its step toward land degradation, for working on land degradation and desertification. That filled me with a pride as a representative of my great country. The pledge made by the Hon'ble Prime Minister in COP26 to make India net zero 2070 is a statement based on our track record and future trajectory of growth. While India is leading the effort to combat climate change, we are aware of our development and growth potential as well. India is fastest growing major economy in the world today as per International Monetary Fund and will continue to be for several years to come. Under the leadership of Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji, India has taken a step in direction of becoming self-reliant. That's our motto, that's our sankalp is the Atmanirbhar Bharat in key economic sectors. The mantra gave to us by Honorable Prime Minister, vocal for local, is being translated on the ground as localization of supply chain and decreasing reliance on imported goods. By supporting manufacturing and innovation on the one hand and committing to become net zero on the other, India has provided the template of sustainable agenda for a prosperous, cleaner and climate resilient future. I congratulate CEEW for underlining India's leadership on the innovation front while simultaneously informing us to ways to maximize the economic gains and job for scaling up domestic production and supporting small manufacturers in room air conditioning sector, at the same time proposing business models to increase access to cooling for consumers. I also congratulate them for organizing this dialogue today and other civil society organizations, manufacturers and other dignitaries that they are working closely with the Ministry of Environment to meet and realize the ICAP goals. Let us do this together. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.